You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Next, featuring intimate and in-depth interviews with Black Hollywood's next edition of stars and influencers. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Next.
Welcome to another edition of BHL Next. I am your host, Megan Thomas. And as always, on Next, we talk about what's up and coming in the entertainment world. And today we've got some special guests. They're from the new play called The Trip to Bountiful. And it's featuring Cicely Tyson, Vanessa Williams, and Blair Underwood. Give it up for Keiana, Richard, and Desean Terry. Whee! Yeah!
You gotta give yourself a clap.
Yes, you guys are thespians. You're actors, stage actors.
Yes.
Which is really, that means you're really good actors. You know that, because only good actors can do stage and theater.
They're good actors.
I will take it.
Just accept the compliment, Keiana.
We are phenomenal.
Thank you. We're amazing.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Right. Well, let's go all the way back before we get into your careers now. Let's go back to you guys growing up. So, Keiana, you're from Nashville, right? Mm-hmm. I'm from Kentucky, by the way. And so, like, all of my family lives in Nashville. My brother lives in Nashville. My grandma used to live there.
Oh my
Aunties,
gosh.
everybody.
Nice.
What part of Nashville?
Outside of Nashville. Well, it's all considered Nashville.
Like where?
Brentwood.
Oh, yeah.
In the
My friend
country.
lives there, girl. Yes.
In the country.
Do you go back a lot?
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
go home as often as I can.
Where's
Sometimes
your-
in the summers there.
Where's your accent?
Really?
I don't hear an accent.
Everybody keeps saying that. I'm like, I swear I'm Southern.
Where is it?
You can't hear it?
Okay, right there. See, you have to try so hard.
Really? I gotta try?
That's how you know you're a good actress, girl. You was like, let me push this accent to the
Shoot,
side.
Grad school beat it out of me.
Right.
Is what happened.
Right. And Desean, you're
I'm from down south too.
You're from originally from Belize, though, right?
Yep, down south.
Did you grow up? Right,
The real
what?
South.
The real South.
True South.
Did you grow up there as well?
I lived there till I was 10. Then I moved out to LA. So
Where's your
Cali
accent?
kid. They beat it out of you. They do. They really do.
Do you go back home a lot too?
I do. I go back home every couple years.
Okay.
Yeah, and they make fun of me. Everybody makes fun of me.
So then now you're too you speak too American.
Yeah. They're like,
Okay.
Yeah, the worst is when I try to do my Belizean accent in front of my family.
Let me hear it.
No.
I haven't even heard this. I want to hear it.
Go ahead, Desean. We don't know any different. Come on.
No, they laugh at me. They just straight laugh at me. So no, I just don't make a habit of that.
Okay. Okay. So then you moved from Belize to LA, right?
So LA since I was 10, and so went school out here. So I'm pretty much an Angelino. So
Let's talk about school for you. You went to Juilliard.
Yep.
What made you go, I'm going to go straight across the U.S. and go to Juilliard, one of the most prestigious performance schools in the world?
You know, I was just like talking about continuing training because that's something I really wanted to do. And somebody recommended to me, they're like, you should consider Juilliard.
Right.
And I was like, really? That place? Really? I mean, it was such a fantasy kind of place, like Juilliard. And I remember it was like, I went on the computer, I typed in the web address, and I was like, oh, this really does exist. And, I just went, and I was like, well, yeah, if I want to go someplace, let me go to the best. And I applied, and it was great. It was a great experience. It was one of those moments, like, you imagine your life going certain places, and then within just like a year of your life, because I'd never even thought or conceived of possibly going to a school like that.
Right.
And within the year after the seed was planted, I was applying then, and within like a year and a half, I had gotten in and taken a whole completely trajectory than what I'd ever imagined, So it was a really cool sort of moment in life.
Okay. That's good. I always wanted to go to Juilliard. Not really sure what I would do, but I just wanted to be like, yes, I went to Juilliard. It just sounds good. So, Keiana, when did you know you wanted to be an actress?
When did I know? I think there was an element of wanting to perform in me from the get-go. I just didn't recognize it. I remember, and in Nashville, kids, before they go to high school, they tour high schools to figure out which one they want to go to.
Okay.
And we were doing a tour at St. Cecilia Academy, and they did this big presentation for us. And part of the presentation was this girl doing a piece for the National Forensics League. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a speech and drama team.
Okay.
And I don't even remember the piece. I just remember her. And I remember how affected I was by her because it was great. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. So I just continued with the arts through high school. But when I got to college, I was a chemistry major. I was planning on going to medical school and being a child psychiatrist. But then I decided to take some acting classes as an elective.
Okay.
And one of my teachers, I remember Tony Cedeno, he was like, Keiana, you need to continue with this. You need to do it. And I was like, okay. Hey, Mom, Dad, so remember how I was going to medical school? So not so much anymore.
What was the reaction?
In my mind, in my memory, I thought my parents were supportive. They were like, "Oh, we knew you were going to, Keiana. We saw it coming, and we support you as long as you can, take care of yourself." And then recently, I went home and I was relating this story to some friends of my mother's, and she was like, "Oh, wait a minute." That is not how I remember that conversation going. She was like, I don't know about that. I was like, really? You guys did not support me. Okay. But they do. They really do. But I'm sure, as every parent does, they're like, oh, here we go. Let's see where this is going.
Right. Desean, was your family like that also?
Well, she brings up a good point because it's like they're supportive, but there's still like a definite line.
Like cautiously supportive.
Yeah, like it's funny because my mom would be like literally every once in a while, and I pay my bills through acting, and my mom every once in a while would be like, "Babe, you want to go back to business school?" And it will come out of nowhere because they'll come to the show, they'll see you on TV, they'll be like, when you're on TV, everybody's texting, everybody's Facebooking, everybody's like, yeah, he done made it, like celebrating, and then everyone just once in a while, just like, become a doctor still?
Right.
Maybe just like a random email or something.
I don't know what that is. It's true. That's exactly what it is. Family be Facebooking you, girl, you better go. You better do it. And then your aunt's like, so, is she gonna, what is she? I
know, it's like they want to support you. They love you, of course. They don't want to be a dream killer, but then they're like, wait a minute, though. But if you have a 9 to 5, it's stable. You don't have to struggle. Okay.
You know what you could do? You could do this, and then you can just act on the side.
Right.
It's like, oh, Lord, have mercy.
Okay, so let's talk about your studying as well. Keiana, you got your MFA from University of California in San Diego. Why did you decide to continue your education when it came to acting?
I felt that there were still some things that I needed to work on because when I was an undergrad, I didn't focus on it completely because, I was chemistry. I was chemistry for a good majority of the time I was in school. And then I took on a business minor. So I felt that I wanted to be in an environment where I could just submerge myself creatively and be able to find myself in a sense. And be trained on it because there's a lot when it comes to acting in the creative world. There's so much to learn, and you never stop learning. Right. I still take classes now whenever I get a chance to, and that's what I wanted in grad school. And UCSD, its program is amazing. It really is a great program, and I got exactly that. I just got to be an artist, and I got to learn more about myself and hone my skills at the singing. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. I sang all through high school, the choral ensembles and all that stuff. But in grad school, it was the first time that someone really broke down how to use your voice.
Oh, wow.
Singing wise,
she said that,
how to use her voice.
How to Edith Skinner speaking with distinction. How to and with singing and speaking.
Right.
And there was stuff that I was just amazed by, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Right. Well, Desean, how did you what made you go once you were done with Juilliard that you were going to be an actor and move back to LA?
The weather.
That was it. You're sold.
No, really. Like I finished, and the dream had always been like I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be a theater dude. I'm just gonna be on Broadway. Like they waiting for me. That was how I thought it was gonna. And then after I graduated, I was like, it is really cold. out here. Like, it is really cold. Yeah. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I believe that you should, as an artist, you should, at least for me, I believe that you should be where happiness is. And so that my joy doesn't come from, of course, working and everything else is super important, but I don't want my joy to be simply hinged on that.
Right.
And so I love Los Angeles. I like the weather. My family's here. I like that it's, I like to get in my car. So it was just like the weather, the cold, everything. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to move to LA and come what may, that's just what it's going to be.
Right.
I loved New York. I really did.
Why didn't you move there?
I did. I was in New York for 2 years. Yeah, okay. After grad school. And, I mean, it was great. I did a lot of theater there. The community, the artistic community, LA's great. But,
especially for theater.
Yes, it is great.
But, everybody says New York is more of a theater community versus LA seems to be more, TV and film focused.
I think there are more opportunities out here for TV and film. There's just the numbers are bigger.
Right.
True. Except now New York has a significant amount of
true. That is true.
Film and TV now.
That's
so
true.
I'm go to New York.
Go back
now.
to the cold. You go back to the cold.
Man, to go for a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Right. I mean, the cold really just it's funny how it doesn't affect you when you have a job.
Right. You forget that there's 7 inches of snow outside of your door.
Exactly.
Exactly. Desean, by the way, can you sing?
I can sing.
Did you train all throughout Juilliard with singing as well?
We do have singing classes.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have singing classes.
What if you can't sing? Can you still
you can get in. Most people can't sing. But it's just so funny that a lot of the people from Juilliard that they can also sing. But we have a little bit of like singing training that we go through and stuff like that.
Maybe it's this, creative people or have a little bit of talent in all areas.
Right.
Even if, like I said, you can't hold a note, there's some conviction that you have when you're singing it, so people don't tell. They can't tell, because you're just so engrossed in it.
Oh, they'll be like, you know what? You were good, so we're just not even going to worry that your voice cracked a whole lot there. You were tone deaf. We're not even going to worry about that. Okay, so Keiana, after you graduated from UCSD, you went on to do an off-Broadway show, correct? Dividing the Estate by Horton Foote.
Yes.
And was this your first big play outside once you graduated?
I booked it right after I graduated.
That's never happens, right? Or is that normal?
I don't know. I know I was really happy and blessed to have that opportunity.
Okay.
Because it was Horton Foote when he was alive, so he was at the rehearsals.
That's amazing.
So I got to meet him, and he was just a lovely man. And so respectful of everyone and respectful of everyone's talent. I remember one moment in rehearsal, he came up to me after my scene. He was like, Keiana, I really, really respect your talent. And it's like, and he has this he was very just a gentleman and so engaging, and the way he said it, you could tell it was genuine.
Right.
And I, at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I love you. You're not just because you said that to me, but it's just, you could tell he was just coming from this place of pure love for the craft and the people involved in it. And then after the off-Broadway run, it did so well, it got transferred to Broadway. Lincoln Center picked it up. And produced it, and it took all of us, which was a big deal to have such a big cast on Broadway at that time, because it cost a lot,
right?
And
how did that make you feel, going from I just graduated school, I'm now doing an off-Broadway show, now I'm doing a Broadway show, guys, I'm on Broadway. How did that make you feel?
I was on top of the world, honestly. I really was. I was so happy. I was in this blissful cloud for so long doing this, the off-Broadway and then going to Broadway, because there was buzz about it going to Broadway when we were off-Broadway. Okay. I'm always like, well, when I get the contract,
right.
When I sign the dotted line, that's when I'm going to be like,
that's when it's real.
And, and then the fact that my parents were so excited for me. All this work, it culminated into this really amazing, great job with awesome people.
Right.
And it just did well. I was happy. I was just beyond happy.
And because you had a job, you weren't cold.
And I had a job. It's cold in New York. I didn't even know it was cold in New York.
What? It's snowing again?
It's snowing. What's this? What's this beautiful white stuff in my hand?
Right. And so that show also got nominated for 2 Tony Awards. How amazing is that? Girl, You came right out of school. You got, I'm on a Tony-nominated awards what does that do to you, especially as an actress, to go, you know what? A lot of people are out here struggling, and here I am. I've been so blessed to go from school to this, and now we're getting nominated for awards. What did that do to you as an actress? Did it make you go harder and say, "Oh, I really got to pick up my stuff," or did you slack a little bit?
You know, I was thankful, really, really thankful, and I thought, and I will be honest, I thought that because it was such a high-profile job, it would open other doors for me a little bit easier, you know, than it would if I hadn't had that job. And I did book some stuff after, but what I realized is that this is a long, long journey, and you can have your highs and you can have your lows.
Right.
And it was a test. It was a test that I somewhat passed because I kept going. And I learned from it instead of just I don't know, just resting on my laurels, I guess you could say. I knew that I had to work harder, basically.
Right.
I was like, I have to work harder.
Right. Hard work. Desean, I know you know about some hard work. So I was looking at your IMDb. You got some lengthy credits. Okay. That's some serious hard work. I mean, let's see. You were in Sleeper Cell in 2005, 2006, Southland in 2009, Grey's Anatomy 2011, NCIS Los Angeles in 2012, and Scorpion most recently. Out of all the jobs that you've had, what's been the most memorable job so far for you?
The most memorable. Well, Scorpion was really fun. That was a lot of fun. Oh my God, which one's the most memorable? Well, Bolden was great. Well, the first Bolden that we did, you know, with Anthony Mackie, that was amazing because we were in North Carolina for 3 months shooting, and you know, it was primarily a black cast. And so we basically just really bonded and just had this amazing experience. You know, we created our own community, and it was also cool because the sets there were, for that, I was one of the Bolden band members. Okay. And so the director actually went to the lengths of giving us music lessons. Oh, wow. So I had to, you know, learn how to pick out on the upright bass a little bit. And yeah, and so it was cool to be, you know, in a band with, and it's sort of like you sort of evolve like that, and then just being transported back into the early 1900s at the beginning, you know, beginning of jazz, and just being in that imaginative experience, like that was definitely one of the best like working experiences I've had so far.
What's been the worst experience you've had so far? You don't even have to, if you don't want to put any names out there, just tell us the experience that you had.
I have been lucky that I have not had any bad experiences.
Okay. You've never had any bad days.
I've never had any bad
set you've ever worked on.
PC way to answer that question. Very PC.
Right.
It has all been bliss.
Okay, well, Keiana, let's start with you. So, what's been the most challenging day on set? You don't even have to tell us what play it was or what show or whatever. Give us one challenging day that you had and what happened.
It was on a set, and this was a lovely, lovely project. Just time management. They did their best. They really did. I will give them that. But it got to be to a point where certain scenes they weren't getting to because they weren't able to really manage their time for the scenes before, and there was no one there to really direct them and kind of you know crack the whip and put their foot down about certain things. And it got to be like, it's late, we're doing a late shoot, and people are tired, some people want to just leave, right, you know, and we stuck it out, but I feel like on a set, and this is something that I've learned, being respectful of each other's time, being respectful of each other's efforts, that's a big deal. And if you're not, it can make the experience not so good. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that sounds like a lot of sets that I've been on. Like, we got to sit here again for hours.
Right. But you know.
But you make it work.
Yeah. But there have been times where, you know, you can see why things are taking longer than But communicating. People actually communicating, hey, so this is what's going on. If you could just bear with us, be patient. But, I mean, I have limited experiences on TV sets. So, I don't know, is it it's that a common. I mean, I know like it takes time. Sometimes it takes longer for things.
Well, the majority of my work has been on TV, and so what's great about doing TV is that they've kind of ironed it out for the most part. You know, they've like the show's House. When I did that, they'd been like 8 years. So that was actually great because Greg Yattanis, he was the one who directed my episode. And he, was just known, like the crew people really rallied behind him because he's just known as a very efficient director and showrunner.
Right.
And so that's why I like TV.
See, this is I'm not
established show.
Yeah, they've worked it out. I mean, some shows have, some shows are notorious for this, for that, but in general, they've kind of like just worked it out and worked out their process a little bit better. So
let's talk about a show that you both are on right now, The Trip to Bountiful with Cicely Tyson, Vanessa Williams, Blair Underwood. Tell us about the show, and then tell us your role on it as well.
The show is about an older woman who would like to get back to her home, Bountiful. She's living in an apartment, a 2-room apartment with her son, Blair Underwood, who plays Ludi, and her daughter-in-law, Vanessa Williams, who plays Jessie May. And it's basically a story about finding home again, in my opinion. She's cramped in this apartment with them, but she's missing the life that she had back at home in Bountiful, which I can relate to. I loved being in New York and LA, but there's nothing like going back home to Nashville to be with your family and
where your neighbors are far from you.
Right.
They're not right next to you.
Right next to you, right on you. Right. And I understudy the role of Thelma, played by Journey Smollett-Bell, who's lovely in it. And we're also in the ensemble, so it's not just understudying, we're actually in the show. So I'm a little war bride in the show. And this is my little hubby over here.
What about you, Desean?
I just want to say that Horton wrote the play when he was 33 years old. And I remember the first time that I read the play because I just read it. I had a very interesting experience getting into the show, actually. I'd worked with the casting director before. Previously, I'd done a play at the Kirk Douglas Theater called The Royale, which I just got an NAACP Theater Award nomination for.
Congratulations!
But we done that, and he was like, "I really want you to meet Michael, the director of the play." He was like, "But they're looking for some understudy parts, and I think you'd be great to understudy Blair, but you're pretty much too young." So he said, so what I would do instead, he was like, I would actually just invite you to be a reader, so you can just read with the actors and and meet Michael, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, yeah, that's great. I love an opportunity to be on the other side because you learn so much. So I was just like sitting there and watching all these fantastic actors and reading with them. And what was so funny about it is because Cicely, she's on stage for the whole duration of the show. So when the actors came in, more than likely they were reading opposite the character that is played by Cicely Tyson.
Right.
So I was what they had for that day.
So you did your best Cicely ever.
I pulled it out. But all that to say that I sat through that experience, learned so much. I was like, this is really great. Made the director, they're all like cool and just like it's all gravy. And at the very end of the day, the director turns to me and he says, Desean, I would really love to see you audition for the role.
Wow.
And I was like, what? Okay. And then I got up and did it. And I was like, I just, it was a great experience. It was like way more than that I was looking for in the experience. Cause I was just like, I'll just be a reader. But when I read the play for the first time, I was like, this is not an atypical play because it's not like super heavy with conflict, no guns going off, nothing, nobody. Right. Just this simple story of this woman just wanting to go back to her hometown. And it is so powerful that it's so simple. And Cicely Tyson, the way that she portrays this role is just so powerful. Everybody that sees it, the first thing they tell me is like, she reminded me of my grandmother. And that's how you know that somebody is like doing because she reminded you of your grandmother, You just see
Cicely Tyson's everybody's grandma.
She is everybody's grandma. But that's the beauty of Horton's writing. It's all of his writing is like that. There's conflict, but they're such human stories. I think that's why so many people relate to them. Right. And so many people just couldn't get over how amazing this show was, and simply for the fact that they related, like you said, to Miss Tyson and to Vanessa and to Blair as human beings and who have similar stories to them.
And I was so sad that I missed it, you guys. I'm telling you. I was telling Keiana earlier that the week that I could go was the week after the show ended, and I was just like, no.
I told her, come to Boston. Come on up.
Come to Boston.
I know, really.
Oh, goodness.
You gotta fly to Boston.
What is it like to be on stage with Cicely Tyson, Desean?
She is so powerful, it's ridiculous. You know, like just once in a while you meet these people. Like the other day at the end of the Los Angeles run, she did a champagne toast.
Oh, yes.
And she just stood up, little Cicely Tyson. She stood up and she was like, I'm going to do a toast to everybody. And I'm going to, and she starts like just connecting with you. And she just says, because what you've done is so good.
Yes.
And just when someone looks at you and you know they're powerful, like it's just like, Cicely, I'm about to cry.
I know.
Did she go through everybody?
She looked all of us in the eye and was like,
wow.
I couldn't have done it without you.
When she when she looks you in the eye and she talks to you, like it's just one of those things where you just she just moves you.
Yeah.
And that's how her work is on stage. Like from the moment I saw her starting, and my friends had seen the show in New York. She saw the show in New York, so they were like, "Oh yeah, she's amazing." And I was like, "Well, she's just going back to Bountiful, right?" That's
the premise of the story, right?
So, what's she doing? And then when I saw it, I was like, "Whoa,
man!"
Yeah, she just
fantastic.
puts it all out there. She puts her heart out there for you. And at the end moment of the show, I have to bite my lip to keep myself from crying.
Don't tell people.
Yeah.
Don't tell them what happens.
I'm not going to tell you what happens. I won't tell you, but I'm just going to say, like, she is the real deal. She really
I believe
is.
it. Keiana, what's it like to work when you see Vanessa L. Williams on stage as well as Blair Underwood?
They're hilarious. Jessie May is hilarious. Ludi is just heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. They're great together. It's just they're great. They're really awesome, wonderful people in real life, and then you see that the work that they put into their characters, it's something you can learn from it. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my toes on a regular basis, basically.
Okay.
So.
And so we're done with the LA run for now of the trip to Bountiful, but it's now going on to Boston for another run. Desean, tell us about that. When is that going to happen?
It starts next Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
we have our first
goodness, really?
Yeah.
It's
or
soon,
no,
then.
maybe next Thursday. Yeah.
No, our first performance is next Thursday, yes.
Yeah.
And we open that Friday. So we have Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, we get in
get it
on
up.
Monday, and we have this great celebration that they're doing in Boston.
Wow.
Yeah, celebrating the fact that the show is coming to Boston, where it's going to be like 1,000 people attending,
It's
which
gonna
is
be
crazy.
this
We have no idea
massive-
what it is.
Right. It's this big event with performances.
Yeah, dedicated
celebrate.
to us, the performers. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wow. You guys are
they're like, I'm
big
gonna perform for
time.
you because you're gonna perform.
Right.
So we just want to trade off.
Right. You guys, question. So when you guys rehearse, how often do you rehearse when the show's going on every night? Do you guys rehearse like every day? How's it go?
When you start up, when we start up, we'll be rehearsing during the daytime and then doing the shows at night for a little bit.
Okay.
But that's during previews. But then when it officially becomes opening night, equity rules is that you can't have rehearsals like after opening night.
Okay.
Except for us.
But except for the understudies, we
Yes.
get like one rehearsal a week just so we brush up to
Or
make sure
two,
that
depending
everything's
upon-
like together.
Okay.
For the people who are going on, just so we get like one rehearsal a week. But usually you don't rehearse when you're doing a show.
Well, I mean, you should know it by then, so I guess you don't need to rehearse. Like, you know, like if you've had rehearsals and then you've done the previews, right? I would assume.
Well,
that,
if you're with the whole show as the ensembles, but when you're understudying,
as an understudy, I get that. So, but as far as the of course, Cicely Tyson, I mean, she probably doesn't need any kind of practice ever.
it's in her bones,
Right.
It is in her bones.
But I see what you're saying. Like opening night, it is what it is.
Yeah.
After that, that's what it is.
What happens when you mess up, Desean, on stage? You're live in front of 1,000 people.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Are you serious? You've never messed up? It doesn't happen. In your entire career?
No, you don't. No, honestly,
He's perfect.
No, but the reality of it is that it isn't. You don't mess up. It's like what it is. It just happened, and you just keep going with it. You
unplanned
blend in with it.
That's what I said. What happens when something unplanned that is not scripted?
You just go with it. You just go with it. Like Cicely Tyson, she has this great moment where something from the ceiling fell onto the stage.
Did it?
Yeah, she just fell onto the stage, and she just like laughed and chuckled and kept going.
Right.
Like that's just what it is, you know. You can't beat yourself up, and just the worst thing I've ever done on stage, like the worst kind of mess up I've ever did, was basically forgetting a line. And usually, when you forget a line, somebody's there to cover you. They're like, "I see that." Or what's also funny is that when you're on stage. And you can see that, because sometimes we go through things, and you just see that someone's like in trouble or something's going on, and you can see that look in their eyes.
Right, the fear, look of fear.
You're like, okay, I'm gonna help. And we just help each other out.
Oh, this reminds me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we were doing Dividing the Estate, and there was an entrance that was supposed to happen, but someone didn't make that entrance, and so there was this long pause, and I'm like backstage, like, okay. Should I just go on and say their lines? Maybe I should. So I'm like, okay. And then finally, the stage manager on the other side was like, okay, go. Yeah, go. So, okay. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out. But then somebody on the other side had told someone else to go on. So here we come both at the same time. And he jumps, he gets it before I do. And so I'm just like out there, like, okay, all right. So I'm just going to pretend like I'm listening. I just came out to listen, that's all. I'm gonna sneak on back behind this table right here. Okay, all right, yep. You guys are all right, so I'm just gonna go on back where I was. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, that must have been the most awkward thing on the face of the planet for the audience. Why is she out there? Why is she just listening and not saying anything and then coming back?
But you know what? You played that off really well, I'm sure.
I played silent and interested. So, yes, till the cows came home. I was like in it, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, we didn't even pay attention. Like nobody like."
Yeah, for the most part, the audience never notices.
Yeah.
I remember I've had times when I've been like, "Oh my god, that was just horrible. I'm so embarrassed." And then, you know, as much as like an ego as you want to take into it, thinking that you're aware of when you're brilliant and when you're not, you know, it's really on the audience. You know, they feel it, and sometimes when we feel like. You know, like I've been in an audition where I've been like, that's the worst I've ever done. I got the job. Sometimes you go in an audition and you're like, I smashed it. Yes. The agent was like, really? You felt like you smashed it? That's not where I...
Right. So you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Okay, so you guys are headed to Boston for this new run of the Trip to Bountiful. What days will it be there?
It will be there. Wait,
why are you asking us hard questions?
What? Because there's people who want to know.
But these are hard questions. No, it's going to be there till December 7th. So it opens like next Thursday. I don't know exactly what that date is. The 20...
I think the 20th.
The 20th.
The 20th.
21st actually is the opening.
Okay, the 21st is the first day.
21st
until December 7th.
December 7th.
Oh, good. Okay.
Over at the Arts Emerson.
Arts Emerson. Cutler Majestic Theater.
Yeah, Cutler did what she said.
In Boston. So if you're in Boston or anywhere in that area, New York area even, make sure you check that out. And is there anywhere that people could go online to check out more information about the show?
You can go on... CTG still has stuff up, right? For...
let me psychically connect to CTG and find...
Trip to Bountiful. Yeah.
It's on their website.
Just
Google Trip to Bountiful Boston and... you know, it's there.
Well, good. Well, I enjoyed talking to you guys today. Before we get out of here, just let me know, what are some projects that you have upcoming, Keiana?
Right now, Boston, and then since the holidays are coming up, I'm looking forward to spending some time at home.
Oh, yes.
With my family. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what can we expect from the Trip to Bountiful coming up after Boston?
Oh, yes. We're not sure. There has been buzz. I was telling you earlier that it might go to London.
Oh,
however,
yes.
that is just hearsay right now. Like I said, until there are contracts in front of me, until there's like a sign on the web saying Trip to Bountiful London, we don't know. But honestly, it can have a life anywhere.
Right.
Next after this.
Oh yes, absolutely. And also, Desean, what do you have upcoming?
Upcoming for me, of course, trying not to get too out of shape during the holidays. But other than that, right now, doing my web stuff, my sketch comedy group, Kids These Days, on YouTube. You can check out our videos. We do them weekly. And
Okay.
That's fun.
Okay, good stuff. And also, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Keiana Nicole, KeianaNikole. That's my mom, the K and the K. So there you go.
All right.
Twitter is the best place to reach me. So Desean Kevin, that's my middle name. Desean Kevin, Desean Kevin, Kevin.
Well, I thank you guys so much for joining me today and letting us all know about the trip to Bountiful. If you haven't seen it before, make sure you check that out and check out where it will be soon. If it's not in your city, go ahead and hit them up and beg them to come to your city because they need to come. It's amazing. And you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. Until next time, y'all, have a good one.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.